My connection with 24/7 HH is from the very beginning. Original first episode, I was a host, co-host. It was done in my basement, the dopest. Man, that basement was like, man, I'm gonna replicate that basement. When I buy a house, another house, I'm going to replicate that basement as best I can. It won't be exact, but it'll have the mood. The mood set in that basement was everything. Jellow came down there, was like, yo, this is beautiful, it was perfect. And, the first episodes were done down there. And I was just informed that I was scratching on there's me scratching on the video, or the intros. The original intro was me scratching. And we went back, Jellow and I. Man, I remember being that hip-hop DJ, and all I got off tour with K7. When I was on tour with K7, I got every record that was coming out. I bought a lot of stuff in New York, but once we started rolling, I got everything free. I would show up at concerts. We did show with Biggie, Puffy, Mary, and that's when the double vinyl for Ready to Die came out. And Wiz, he was a promoter, white boy promoter, came up to me and Scribble and said, yo, here's the new album. Nobody's got it. We're bringing it here today. I was like, what? And we did that show, man, like coming off of that touring, the record stopped. I had a couple people sending me records, but, the people I had to hook up with were in Chicago. Everybody I went to parties to DJ with had all the promos, all the new shit, and I finally met them. And they showed me love immediately. And were giving me records every week, and, my goal was to get on the radio. My boy Jellow was the one who passed my mixtape to Doc Love in Milwaukee to get your boy on his first radio station. He believed in me that much that he gave my CD, which was a bomb-ass CD. It was dope. At the time, it was one of the best ones out, but it wasn't for him, it was for me. And he gave it and passed it along and gave me a job, got me a job. And I polished myself on that station, KKV Milwaukee. That's why I would drive up to Great America on a Friday night, park in a gas station just so I could get reception to hear my mix to make sure everything flowed right. And this is me in sweatpants with holes in them and smoking a joint and driving by myself. Not on seeing a chick, none of that. Just checking my craft. Jellow believed in me, man, and he would always sell me to everybody. And my depression got the best of me for a lot of big things that I could have done, but he always was my boy, and he always believed in me. And you need people like that in your life. You need people, that you respect, to look at you a certain way, to build that confidence inside, and he always gave me confidence. And I owe my radio career to Jellow because Jellow believed in me, and it wasn't no phony believe in you. People believe in you when you're hot. It's like I just said the story, when K7 was done, when we weren't gonna make another album, nobody answered my calls anymore. And Jellow started feeding me music, and I started playing hip-hop that I never used to play because I was Mr. Underground hip-hop. And I said, my style of DJing will work with either one. I get all this shit for free, might as well make a mixtape. That mixtape gave me my career. It was meant to be. It was my path, but my friends, man, so I'm always down for Jellow. 24/7 HH has a spot in my heart because I was there in the beginning, and, because they believed in me. So I have a lot of great memories from that. And, Jellow picks up the phone 2, 6, 8 months later. What's up, Non? Where you been? And we pick up right where we left off, and we have a 2-hour conversation, dominated by me, of course. He gets in a couple words, and he finds out my whole life the last, year and shit. But, that's what real friends are, And I've always had a lot of respect for everything he does. I like how many people he's put on. And like I said, I owe my radio career to him making that. It was my talent, but it was his connections that got them to listen, because I'm sure, I know from experience, you could send your mixtape to everybody, and it's very rare that they're going to listen, because something has to catch their eye. Because if it's just a mixtape, when you're writing on it, it's going to go with the box full of other ones. So he got them to listen, and I got the job, and then that propelled me to Chicago, where I loved the city I love, and the career that I always thought was my ceiling, Chicago radio. That was my, I just want to make it on the radio. I want to influence a bunch of DJs the way they influenced me. I want to be that guy they talk about. Like, yo, when I heard Nonstop the first time, I knew I wanted to be a DJ because I wanted to be just like that. I want to hear that. And I've heard it. I've heard it a lot. And that's a blessing, because I looked up to DJs too. And I always try to do it right. And, you're not for everybody, but I find my people. And what a blessing, man. But it was all my path. Jellow was in my path. 24/7 HH was in my path. Ever since I started accepting that, it's been a lot easier to get over pain, When something don't go right, I said, damn, God, that wasn't for me? Damn it, okay. That's my conversations now. Thank you, Lord, for showing me the right, because that's what it is, man. If something's not meant for you, it's not going to work. You meet somebody, you guys hit it off, you're in love, you spend time together, that love never dies. If it does, or if it becomes questionable, then you know that it's not working, and you get out of that, and you move on to the next part of your life. But you always have to accept the inevitability that things that are not meant for you will not happen for you. And yeah, we have a choice, right? I could look back and say I could have went left when I went right. Thank God I went right. But I went right because that's the way I was supposed to go. That's my path. I don't know when I'm gonna die, but I'm living my life every day like it's my last. And I'm spending a lot of time enjoying my life right now. Through the pain, through the depression. So Jellow, before founding 24/7 HH, was a promoter, street promoter. He was a street promoter on a company, Chrewd Marketing and Promotions, and they did all the big labels. The biggest one at the time for me was Bad Boy. It was right at the inception. Biggie was at the spot. They did everything, all the marketing. It was like when street marketing mattered. I could say that they put Bad Boy on the map in Chicago because they were as big in Chicago as they were in New York. And the street promoters, we went to that Puffy show at, what was that spot, that E2? We were outside, there was thousands of people on the streets, and all the marketing, Chrewd had all the sticks with the big posters. It was crazy. And he was a great street promoter, had the best relationships, introduced me to everybody. I got dropped some mad artists because of him. And from there, he started 24/7 HH, and, he's doing a lot of great things now. I'm glad I knew him when I did, because I could pick up the phone and he answers my calls. So my first radio gig was in Milwaukee on KKV, and then they were trying out guys for KISS in Chicago. Julian Jumper Perez was starting a group on KISS. He left B96. Boogie Boy, who was my partner, we had a pact that if I got on radio in Milwaukee, I'd get him on over there. And if he got on radio in Chicago, he'd get me on over here. So that was what our deal was. I got us on radio in Milwaukee first. So he was trying to sell me to Julian every day. And I was on the phone and heard the calls, so I knew what he was doing. He was like, yo, we got to get Nonstop. And Julian's like, I don't know. I like him, but I'm not sure he's ready for radio. And I heard all the conversations, And Boogie sold, kept telling him. And then Julian finally relented. It was like, yeah, I think we're going to put him out. So I went to KISS, and I was doing both stations for a while. But 4 months into KISS, they offered Julian the job back at B96, and he brought all of us over there. So I was on B96 for 5 years, and then some freak accident happened, and some drama happened, and it had nothing to do with any of us, but there was a picture of me in the area, and it just made it was bad publicity, so they had to let me go. And then I was stressed out and depressed because I only knew radio. I was like, I didn't want to get fired, And Nina Chantel, one of my good friends, I used to see her everywhere I went. She was on GCI and Kiss. She was doing double duty, and I was like, "Ooh, that's gangster." So I was like, "Yo, Nina, you think you could pass one of my mixes to GCI?" And she's like, "I can, yeah, of course, of course." She's like, "But I probably could get you on Kiss right now." And I'm like, "I don't want to do Kiss," because, you know, B96 at the time was heading more towards Lady Gaga and dance, because that's how the music was changing. So I was kind of like, you know, I probably wouldn't have lasted anyway. So, and Kiss was a lot like that, more dance. So I said, "Just try to get me on GCI." She's like, "Okay." So she passed my mix to GCI, and they offered me a guest spot on the holidays, and that turned into an every weekend thing, and that turned into an every day at 8 o'clock. I did that for almost 10 years. And then times were changing, and I was getting older, and, you know, I kind of wanted to change the scenery. You know, I like old school. I wanted to kind of float in the good times, you know, a lot of things that happened. And somebody called me and said, "Yo, there's a new throwback hip hop station in Chicago. You should reach out to them and try to get on." And I said, "I'm not calling anybody to try to get on the radio." And this was a cocky moment, but I was saying it to somebody that I cared about. So it wasn't public. I said, if there's a radio station in Chicago that plays throwback hip hop and I have to call them to talk to them about being on the radio, they don't know Chicago. Because if you're going to do throwbacks, I'm your guy. That was my favorite thing to do. Like, I felt like that was you know, regardless of whatever. My cousin Metro calls me the next day, and I'm still on the road, and says, "Yo, you heard about the new station?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just heard about it yesterday." He's like, I said, "You know who's running it?" And he said, B96. And I said, "Oh, that's why they didn't call me." I said, "They don't want me, you know. They were forced to fire me before for some nonsense. You know, I understood, but I'm like, they're not going to give me another chance." And he's like, "No, they want you." I said, "I'm down to talk." And they reached out, and we talked, and I got the job. And that's what I'm going to do until I'm done. I'm always going to DJ, but this is my last radio gig. I'm going to ride this one to the sunset. Yo, what up? It's the heavy hitter DJ Nonstop, and you're checking out 247hh.com.